Hey, listen!
Welcome everyone, this is Andre's Restart, and today we are talking about Super Mario Bros. Wonder and how this game may be the most Dark Souls-like 2D Mario game amongst them all. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, if you're unfamiliar with Dark Souls, it's a very popular game of the Soulsborne series, and these games are known to be very difficult, not so forgiving, and have a lot of different online interactions that add even more layers to this difficulty and challenge. And there's a lot of things that we're hearing about and seeing with Mario Bros. Wonder that are making me think there are some similarities here. How exactly? Well, that's what I would like to talk about today. But before going forward, let me point out that we are aiming to reach 50,000 subscribers. So if you do enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and enjoy the ride while we talk about Nintendo every day. So some of you may be wondering, why would I even compare Mario Wonder, this cheerful, colorful Mario game that's meant for a large audience of all sizes and ages, to be similar in any way to Dark Souls, something that is kind of edgy and dark and challenging and not the most inviting to different types of players. Well, this thought process of mine began when I heard about the difficulty of Mario Bros. Wonder. So let me point you towards an interview with the Mario Wonder team and Game Informer. Here's a few quoted lines that sort of speak on the difficulty of Mario Wonder. It really is going to be quite challenging to be able to collect all of the badges. So if you feel confident in your Mario playing skills, I implore you to give it a shot, Mori says. Tezuka chimes in, "No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get the last one. As you can see, it's really difficult even for the developers themselves," Mori responded. "I got all the badges. Up until now, I've completed pretty much every single Mario game that I've worked on," Tezuka responds. "But for this one, I did have to have help with 2 courses. All the rest, I did myself. I'm just not as skilled as other staff members. As for the most challenging stages, I'm glad it's the difficulty level it is, because creating courses based on my skill level would surely make it feel lacking for many players." So my ultimate takeaway from this dialogue we've heard from some of the developers of Mario Wonder is that this game has been designed in a way where there is a great deal of challenge. But this shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise for experienced Mario players, because the way Mario games in general are designed, they're designed in a way to be inviting to a large audience. Typically, I refer to this as the first half of the game. But once you get to the credits and you defeat Bowser, what happens afterwards, if you're going for the completion, the 100%, you will start to find far more challenging levels. And if you want to get to the very end and unlock those final secret levels that have even more challenge, well, it's going to be a challenge. But on top of that, typically there are collectibles throughout the levels, even in the beginning, where they're supposed to be easy, that can be challenging, and that still seems to be the case here with Mario Wonder. They're speaking on the badges. And some of the badges can be very hard to find, which to me is interesting because I am definitely going to complete them all. I'm the kind of Mario player that tries to go for 100% in these games because I think that's how you get the most out of them, especially by unlocking those final secret, very challenging levels. But from what we've seen of the badges, some of them make the game easier, like the sensor badge. That might actually help you find more of the badges potentially. But then there are other badges like the dash badge, where you have to dash through the entire level, where you're going to have to respond and move around more quickly and have a fast reaction time. That's going to make it more challenging. So some of the badges are going to make the game easier, and some of the badges are going to make the game harder, and you're going to be able to mix this around and play the game as you please. So what I'm seeing of Mario Wonder, if anything, it seems like they've done an even better job of giving the less experienced players more ways to explore and conquer the earlier parts of this game, but also are providing challenge for the experienced players that want it. But how does this make this game more like Dark Souls? Well, outside of there being some allusions to the difficulty if you seek that kind of challenge, there is a bit more. So, for example, there are these multiplayer features that give you different ways to interact with other players. So you can add a standee. The standee is almost like you providing some level of a message, a warning for what's to come in the level. It also allows you to come back. This isn't too different from what we see in the Soulsborne games, where if you die or something happens, you can leave a message or hint for other players playing. And what happens is that there's this sense of community that's built within the Soulsborne games, as it appears there will also be with Mario Wonder. When you play these games, you can opt to play them without any sort of online connectivity, but if you do, even though it can be played as a single-player game, there are these passive online multiplayer options as well. So we have the hint system, but also there is player versus player, PvP. This is something that's popular in the Soulsborne games. We technically have it as well in Mario Wonder. You can invite other players into your lobby, and you can challenge and verse them in different ways. And outside of challenging players in this hint system, as you're playing the game, you're going to be seeing phantoms, or shadows. Very much like the Soulsborne games, where as you're playing the game, you're going to be seeing these phantoms or shadows of other players, and you're going to be seeing what they're doing and how they interact with the world, and you can use that to figure what you might want to do next in the level or world you're exploring. So there are some similarities here beyond there just being some extra challenge. But something else about Wonder that may help this to feel more like a Dark Souls game than other 2D Mario games is this apparent emphasis on boss battles. So here Mori says, right off the bat, we felt that boss battles themselves also needed some kind of new coat of paint. When I was considering what kind of boss battle experiences would fit this title, I came to the conclusion that they would have to be using the powers of Wonder. This is stepping into spoiler territory, so I'm not able to share much, but just expect a lot of Wonder-induced attacks. Now to be clear, this isn't necessarily saying that the boss battles are going to be more challenging, although the way Game Informer wrote this article, it seems that they were trying to suggest that it's possible, even though that they themselves made it clear that they're not sure if this is the case. Point being though, there is an emphasis on boss battles, and one of the big elements of the Soulsborne games are the boss battles, and unlike prior Mario games, at least the 2D ones, there are the occasional boss fights, but they aren't really that much of a big point of emphasis, at least not in my personal experience. And here it seems that they are trying to place more emphasis on them, which to me is exciting. I love a good boss fight. But going beyond the Dark Souls-like comparisons, I also would like to compare Mario Wonder to another challenging game, Cuphead. Cuphead is an action platformer, and it is very, very challenging. But similar to Mario Wonder, there is no collision with the players you are playing with. So in co-op mode in Cuphead, you can run across the stage with your fellow player, and you do not bop into each other in any way, shape, or form. If one of you dies, the other can help them recover, and that's pretty much it. That's exactly how it works in Mario Wonder. If you don't collide into each other, you don't impact the actual platforming or movement of each other, but if one of you dies, you can save the other. Beyond that, you both simply have the ability to hurt enemies on stage. This is how it works for both Cuphead and Mario Wonder. And I think this is done because the collision can get in the way of the platforming experience, how you maneuver about the world. And there are going to be moments that can be challenging, so it already may be quite frustrating. If you add in collision on top of that, it might not be so fun. And there's been a lot of questions as to why collision wasn't in Mario Wonder, and we talked about how last week there was an interview talking about why there wasn't collision, and it was about reducing the anxiety levels in the game. So I wonder if maybe, pun intended with the wonder, this game has even more difficulty than prior Mario games, and that's why they took out the collision to balance it up a little bit. That's not necessarily the case, but it does have me thinking. But going beyond that, the badge system in Mario Wonder also has me thinking about Cuphead. Cuphead had something very similar to the badge system as well. There are these power-ups you can collect that give you different abilities, and you can change them around to explore and combat the various challenges in the Cuphead levels. We have all these different abilities with the badges in Mario Wonder, some of them making the game easier, some of the game making them harder, some of them just giving you different ways to explore around the world. It's very similar to me. And really what I'm seeing with Mario Wonder is that there's a lot in thought and consideration put into the different things you can do in this game. They're putting more emphasis on boss battles, they're offering the badge system, they've added this online system where you can bring in this greater level of interaction with players that can offer a hint system if you so choose, or a way to challenge other players as well. And as of this recording, we are about 8 days away from the release of Mario Wonder, and I just find myself excited for this game. I get the sense that this is going to be one of the best 2D Mario games ever, and I am very excited. But what do you think? What do you make of my observations of Mario Wonder? Let me know in the comments below. This is Andres Restart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.